Here we have a female comedian, which is an oxymoron in and of itself. Like, as soon as you hear female comedian, I already, you just hear just the synchronization of Jamaicans sucking their teeth. Once, like, in my mind when I hear female comedian says, and I'll be like, oh God. But this we got a female comedian called Rachel Williams, right? And she's going to talk about why young girls don't go for nice guys. So we'll take a listen to this. It's probably not going to be funny. Um, yeah, I'm already looking at the comments. They're saying I'm convinced female comedians use the same script. Yeah, female comedians. I'm sorry, they're just not funny. But let's take a listen to what she has to say.
Ladies, when we're in our 20s, a nice guy comes up to you, we don't like that because we don't love ourselves yet, right? Right, because our moms called us fat when we were 8 and we're still right. That's why I don't judge young girls when they don't like nice guys. I don't. It's just funny to me the reasons girls use to not be with a nice guy because they can't be honest. They can't be like, well, he answered my text in a prompt manner. Like they can't be like, I don't know, I just got the ick because he looked a little gay running with a backpack on. And they feel bad for him, but they're like, yeah, he did look a little gay. I saw that too. Ladies, when we're in our
That was painful. Yeah, female comedians, they're Lord have mercy, man. Please, somebody put in the comment section if you've seen an actual funny comedian. Dude, I remember I actually put a video of one Indian woman. Now, I don't know if she was a comedian, but she was doing a show with like two other fruitcakes, right? two dudes, two soy boys. But she said something she said something funny-ish, right? And I gave her props. I forgot what video that was, but I don't even think she's a comedian. Like the funny woman that I actually meet in life, they're not trying to be comedians. They're just funny. Like I remember one funny girl I went to middle school with. And I remember she was roasting she was roasting me one time. But that was the only funny girl I met in my life. Like I'm talking about in my life. I'm talking there's no, and like I said, it's not because it's just women are not really required to be funny. So they don't necessarily have the experience that they go through in life doesn't really, they're not really qualified. And they usually talk about the same things all the times. They're like female rappers. They only rap about like two things. They're punani and anyways. Let's analyze what she's saying again about why young girls don't like dating nice guys. And it's kind of stuff that we've already said already. But the problem is when we say it, we're called misogynists and we don't like women. But here she's basically revealing the game and still not taking accountability for just not being good people. But here we are.
20s, a nice guy comes up to you, we don't like that because we don't love ourselves yet, right?
They always use that excuse because we don't love ourselves yet. But now that I'm 32, I'm a real woman now. Step aside, a real woman is here. Ladies, if you're listening to this, I don't think, especially in today's dating marketplace or just today's day and age, to wait for the nice guy in your 30s, that's not a viable option anymore. Not anymore. First of all, what women would do back in the days, this is what they would do. They would go through their whole phase. Like we talking about girls in the 80s and 90s, right? In the early 2000s. What they would do, they'd go through their whole phase in college, but then right once they hit junior or senior year, or right when they leave college, once they hit 23, 24, they're like, okay, I'm 23, 24, I got to look for a husband. Now, women now, they want to live up they want to take their whole 20s and some of their 30s with them. And once enough dudes start being like, man, your pussy ain't shit, that's when they start being like, oh, shoot, I got to, okay, the party's over. Or when they stop getting free access to the club, then they're like, okay, I got to look for a man. So that will end up being age 33, 34, 35. You know what I mean? So that whole thing, waiting into your 30s for a nice guy, that's not a viable option anymore.
Right, because our moms called us fat when we were 8 and we're still right. That's why I don't.
It's always somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault with women. No, the reason why they don't like decent men, it's not even about nice guy. They always want to say, no, it's just there's decent dudes, not perfect dudes, but decent dudes. The reason why you don't like normal, decent dudes is because when they run across a guy that's responsible, is on his stuff, decent dude, not rich, not super handsome or tall or whatever, but he's a decent dude, and he does what he can. He does what he can, and you know he can do more, and he knows himself to do more. That's why he pushes himself because he has to do more. Now the problem is when women run into guys like that, they know that they can't use the excuse of he's abusive, he's this and that. So once they run across a guy that holds their end of the bargain, now it's time for them to hold their end of the bargain and be a decent woman and do what they're supposed to do. And women don't want that responsibility. The same way that they don't even want the responsibility of, because they'll have a kid with an absolute loser, but then baby deletion is always a viable option if she's with a guy that she deems average or blah blah blah. Because the reason why is not only is she having a kid to somebody that she deems normal or average, but the responsibility that's going to come with it, she's going to be asked to hold her end of the deal. There's going to be no excuses for her. There's no place where she can fall and be a victim. That's why they rather be a single mom, because there's always a way for them to be like, well, he left me and I didn't choose this and all this BS. Because now they know they're going to have to hold up their end of the deal and be responsible, and they want nothing to do with that. Nothing.
Judge young girls when they don't like nice guys. I don't. It's just funny to me the reasons girls use to not be with a nice guy, because they can't be honest. They can't be like, well, he answered my text in a prompt manner. Like, they can't.
Now, what's interesting if men were saying stuff like this, right? Well, she was good and she was a virgin and she was this for me, but I just couldn't be with her because, yeah, she was just too good. They would be, man, you would be having girls writing essays in the comment section. Girls writing essays in the comment section and doing all this stuff. And this is why you can't do nothing for no man. And blah, blah. You're just like, oh, here we go.
Like, I don't know. I just got the ick because he looked a little gay running with a backpack on.
Interesting. They can say stuff like this. This is interesting because men can't even say stuff like this, just in general, but they can. But anyways, like I say, female comedians, it is what it is. Let's check her page out. Oh Lord, a New York female comedian. Yeah, these be the people that be getting the stage time. Oh man, these people are ruining the game. Yeah, women like this are ruining the game because you can't even. Oh man, and like I said, that's why women will say this stuff out loud and then want sympathy when they're a single mom. And I'm like, well, it's clear that you don't like kind or nice guys or decent dudes. You go for toxic dudes and then keep their kids, not have the kids. You keep their kids, and then wonder why things are the way they are. I mean, and then we have to talk about, why don't you hold these toxic dudes responsible? Like, we don't have to. You're choosing them. There's nothing for us. There's nothing for us to do, especially if you're gonna go on the record and say, I can't date nice guys in my 20s. I can't.
Ladies, when
You can't complain about you can't say I like toxic dudes and then complain about the results that come from it. But like I said, women just like to be in that victim. They always want to be a victim. They always want to be a victim. They need something to complain about. They need something to talk about with their girlfriends. And usually when they're with their girlfriends and they're usually talking about that kind of nonsense. Even if there's nothing wrong with the relationship. They just can't. This is why really what happens is with a lot of when you actually meet a mentally stable, healthy woman, they really don't have time for that kind of nonsense where they're talking with a whole bunch of hens about their relationships. They actually get really annoyed with it. So they end up only having probably one or two female friends. And they'll hang out and do what they do, but then they'll just usually kind of just stick with their family and then probably have one or two female friends, one or two. And probably they'll just be like, it's probably one. Probably they'll have like one female friend, one. Because really they don't have, especially if they're in a relationship, they don't really have time for the nonsense. If you're a woman with a level head, they don't. Women like us, because I've met women like level-headed women. They don't have time for that kind of nonsense. Where you're talking about, oh, I don't date nice guys, and these they give me the ick, and then you're keeping kids of men that you know are not going to be good fathers, and then complain about women that actually have a good head on their shoulders. They don't have time for that. Oh man. But anyways, shout out to the female comedians out there. Keep hustling what you can because eventually that's gonna end. Subway's always hiring.